Hey there, Cinemaster fans. Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. The movie's story begins with a boy named Steve. We see him go to a mine, but the miner kicks him out because he's too young. We learn that Steve dreams of entering the mine, so after he grows up and becomes a man, he goes to the same mine, but the miner kicks him out again because he's still young. And we know that Steve dreams of entering the mine, so after he grows up, he becomes a man and goes to the same mine. He starts to dig and manages to find 2 glowing cubes. When he collects them, a portal opens to the Minecraft world, called the Overworld. Steve starts building a house to live in, and he meets a wolf named Dennis, who becomes his friend after Steve gives him food. Just like we know in Minecraft, animals befriend you if you feed them. Years pass, and one day Steve sees strange tracks. When he gets closer, a mysterious portal opens. Dennis and Steve enter it and are transported to the Nether. We learn that the Nether is ruled by the witch Joshua. Joshua takes the cube from Steve. Steve waits for her to sleep, then steals the cube and gives it to Dennis, telling him to return to the human world. Dennis escapes and goes to Earth, hiding the cube under the bed. In this way, the Minecraft world is locked forever. Dennis stays in the human world. Now we meet Garrison, who is known for his love of games and owns an Atari game shop. We see him going to an auction to sell items. The auctioneer tells him there's an Atari among the items. Garrison immediately buys the Atari for $900. But when he opens the box, he doesn't find the Atari inside. Now we see the glowing cube among the items, and also Steve among the items. Garrison gets angry and smashes everything. We also meet Natalie, who is talking to her brother Henry, telling him they moved here for her new job. We learn their mother died, so Natalie is responsible for taking care of her brother. Henry is upset about the move, but he has to accept reality. When they arrive, they meet Dawn, who gives them the key to their new house. The next day, Henry goes to Garrison's game shop and meets Garrison. Afterward, Henry goes to school. The principal welcomes him and tells him he's the first student to enroll this year because the school's reputation isn't good. The principal starts talking and tells Henry that her husband divorced her. Henry is surprised she's sharing her personal life in front of students. Then Henry goes to class and the teacher asks them to draw a banana. Henry draws a banana attached to a rocket. Henry gets annoyed and tries to make a rocket. He succeeds in making a small rocket and gathers the students to show it to them. But when he launches the rocket, it flies and lands on the lab where Natalie works. After this incident, the principal asks Henry to bring his guardian or he'll be expelled. Henry knows Natalie is busy, so he calls Garrison and asks him to pretend to be his uncle, offering him $26. Garrison agrees and goes to the school. When the principal sees him, she is impressed because he's famous. He takes Henry and goes to the shop. Meanwhile, Henry sees the glowing cubes and asks Garrison about them. Garrison opens the note found with the cubes, which says, "Do not combine the cubes under any circumstances." But Henry combines them. Suddenly, the place starts shaking. An hour later, Natalie calls Dawn and tells her, "My brother is missing, and I can't find him anywhere." Dawn tracks his device using GPS and tells her he's in a cave, and she'll take her there. Now we go to Henry, who follows the cubes to the same cave where Steve found the cubes. When he goes inside, he finds a portal. At the same time, Natalie and Dawn arrive. Suddenly, the cube starts guiding Henry to the portal. They all grab him to stop him from entering, but unfortunately, they all end up inside the portal. They are transported to the Overworld. They try to explore the place. At the same time, one of the Overworld's villagers sees the portal and enters it. When the villager comes to the human world, he finds Dennis, who manages to enter the Minecraft world. On the other side, Joshua is yelling at the Nether's inhabitants, telling them if they don't provide gold, she'll send them to the human world. Meanwhile, she finds out someone entered the Overworld and is happy because she can recover the cubes. Joshua then goes to the cell where Steve is imprisoned and tells him the Overworld has opened. Steve is worried about Dennis. Joshua tells him she'll let him out to look for Dennis, but on one condition: he must return the cubes. Back to the Overworld, night falls. As known in Minecraft, when night falls, zombies and monsters appear, so you must hide in a closed place until sunrise. Everyone starts running. Henry immediately builds a house while Garrison and the others are surrounded by zombies. Suddenly, Steve arrives and kills all the zombies, and then the sun rises, and it's morning. The zombies die because of the sunlight. Steve asks them where the cubes are. They tell him that during the attack, the cube's cover broke. Steve gets angry and tells them he'll look for the second cube and return them to Earth. They agree. He takes them to the villagers to look for the cube cover. Meanwhile, Joshua learns that Steve is with the villagers and sends her strongest warrior to Steve to take the cube from him. Steve enters the weapons room and teaches them how to make weapons. Each one makes their own weapon. Meanwhile, Garrison tells Steve, "Give me diamonds so I can go back to Earth, and I'll give you the cube." Steve agrees. At that moment, Joshua's armies attack and start destroying the village. Steve, Garrison, and Henry take the weapons they made, go out, and fight Joshua's armies. But the armies are stronger. Steve, Henry, and Garrison take jet planes and escape. Afterward, Steve tells them that the witch Joshua wants the cube and he must save Dennis from her. Garrison says the cube is there, and if Steve finds diamonds and brings him back to his world, he'll give it to him. Meanwhile, Dawn and Natalie are alone in the forest. Suddenly, they see Dennis in front of them. Dawn gives him food, and Dennis becomes her friend too. Steve takes Henry and Garrison to the cave to get diamonds, but they are surprised by the monster working for Joshua, and he was the one who attacked them. At this point, Garrison and the others immediately fled the place. After that, Steve took them, and they went to one of the castles that had the cube. Steve warned them and told them, "The monsters in this castle, do not look into their eyes because they will take control of you." At that moment, they entered the castle. Steve and Henry started singing and dancing to distract those present. Meanwhile, Henry sneaked in, ran, and entered the treasure room. Now, let's go back to Garrison and see the castle's inhabitants. They forced Garrison to fight a small zombie. Garrison actually started fighting him, but the zombie was stronger despite its small size. Now, back to Henry. He managed to find the cube, but suddenly, the monster appeared to him, and Henry looked into its eyes, so it started controlling him. But during this, he fought back and managed to free himself, and immediately went to Steve. Garrison took them and escaped, but at the door, Joshua came at them, and using her powers, she managed to take the cube from Henry. She broke the bridge, and at that moment, Garrison carried Henry and threw him onto the airship to protect him. As for Steve, he jumped after him as well, and Garrison told Steve to take Henry and escape from Nana. Garrison stayed on the bridge and started fighting the monsters to allow Steve and Henry to escape safely. Meanwhile, Henry and Steve stayed on the airship, but the airship crashed and they fell from a high place. Suddenly, Steve woke up and found Dennis, and we learned that Natalie and Dawn found Henry and Steve while they were unconscious, so they took them and treated them. At the same time, Joshua used the cube and blocked the sun, opening a portal to the human world, and sent her armies to destroy planet Earth. At this moment, Henry, Steve, Natalie, and Dawn started making weapons to fight Joshua. They succeeded in creating giant monsters called the Iron Guardians. The Guardians only fight if provoked. One of Joshua's men hit the Guardians and provoked them, so the war began. Steve attacked Joshua, while Dawn and Dennis attacked the wolves. Henry climbed onto the cube, but suddenly one of the monsters hit Henry and he fell off. At that moment, Garrison came and saved Henry from falling, then took him, and they hit and destroyed the cube. At that moment, the sun came out and all the monsters burned while Joshua fell. Steve told her, "You lost. Creating is harder than destroying. That's why cowards like you choose destruction." He left her and walked away, but Joshua called out to him and said, "I have something I want to tell you." Steve told her, "You have a dagger and you want to kill me." But Joshua said, "No, I don't have anything." When he approached her, Joshua tried to stab him with the dagger, but Steve pushed her away and left. Then, Natalie, Dawn, and Garrison decided to return to their planet. Dennis went with them as well. At that moment, Natalie told Steve, "You have a chance to return to our planet or leave this world." When they left, Steve immediately ran after them and managed to return to Earth. Afterwards, you see Garrison, who managed to make his shop successful. As for Henry, he built a jet and became popular, and all the students liked him. Everyone lived happily despite the dangers they faced. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.